The stone that the builder refused by one Blac well. Marlene dropped out of school at age 15. She didn't have plenty of help from her relatives. Her mother couldn't afford to take care of her and her 3 siblings, Rowan, Janice, and baby Carrie. Marlene always dreamt of going to university to become a doctor or lawyer, but unfortunately the suffering stopped her on the way. She got pregnant at age 16 with a bouncing baby boy. She named him Jerome. He was named after one of her ex-classmates whom she had a crush on. Garth, the father of her child and her boyfriend at the time, got a work visa, which enabled him to travel to the United States of America. They correspond regular until he met and fell in love with a young lady. She lived in Michigan, USA. Marlene met Bill 1 year after Garth traveled to the USA. She got pregnant for him. 9 months later, she gave birth to her second son. She named him Sun, the name derived from the fact that her first child was a boy and the second one is also a boy. 3 years after Sun were born, Marlene and Bill separated. She got fed up of men and thought to herself that she hasn't had luck with men whatsoever. She decided to stay by herself and leave men alone. 1 year and 6 months has passed. She was suffering. She went in town to do some window shopping. She met a young man. He was trying to pick chat with her. However, she refused to entertain him at first. Went on his knees and pleads with her. He asks her, please give him a chance in your life. You wouldn't understand, she said. Understand what? He asked. What I felt from men over the years. And then she asked, by the way, where do you work? I worked at the Coffee Industry Board, or CIB for short. What is your job title? She asked. I am the plant manager for Region 8, Southeast Manchester, he said. They must have paid you well, she commented. And then she asked, can I get a job at your company? He laughs, then he said, as you can see, it is a well-recognized company. They could have paid me more, but nevertheless, I am not complaining, thank God. Marlene started to make him feel as if she was impressed with his smart dress and lots of words. In a bragful way, he said, I am not trying to impress. But I know this for a fact that I can take good care of you. She looked at him from head to toe. Then she asked him, do you have a wife and where is she? That followed by, how many children do you have? He said, I got 1 child. He is 5 years old. She said, you did not answer all my questions. He said, ooh, do you mean the wife bit? She said, yes. He said, no, I am not married. My partner and I, we have been separated 6 months ago, and I felt that I am strong enough now to start a brand new relationship. She said, is it? Here comes another trickster again. Then she said, tell me something. What is it men want from women? Is it sex? She asked. He replies, no, happiness. She asked, how can women bring men happiness when she herself doesn't have it for herself? Plus, she has 2 small children without fathers and no job. Can you give what you don't have? She asked. He looked at her and then he said, I am so sorry. He stepped closer to her. Then he asked her, do you live far from here? He was trying to change the conversation. She told him, no, it is about 4 miles away. Then she said to him, by the way, why did you ask me that question? He said, I was just thinking that I could give you a lift home. She asked him, who told you that I was going home now? Where going then? He asked, I am looking money. She replies. He laughed and then he asked her, how do you plan to do that and what amount of money you had in mind? Just enough to take care of my children and I, she said. There is no food in my house and my electricity had cut off and there is nowhere to find a job. Do you see what I meant when I told you men only want to give women babies and that's it? She told him, if you want sex, you must pay for it or leave me alone. How much will sex cost me? He asked her. $6,000, she replied. Where are we going to have sex? He asked. It doesn't really matter. All I need is some money to buy food for my 2 children, she said. The deal went well. He paid her and she gave him all that he wants. They both were happy. She got money to buy food for her children and he got his heart desires. They both exchanged telephone numbers and kept in touch regular. He became a regular customer for the service she rendered. Several months have passed, or probably a year. She sells her body every day. Until one day she met a Jamaican who lived in Toronto, Canada. He is a businessman who operates a Caribbean restaurant and a car company in Toronto. His wife died from brain cancer 3 years to the date they met. She was a lawyer. He told her that he come Jamaica to cool out with good friends and relatives. 5 minutes into the conversation with Marlene, he felt so sorry for her and the situation. He gave her 100 Canadian dollars and took her telephone number and address with a promise that he would keep in touch with her. He kept his promise. He also encouraged her to keep the faith and explained to her that she wasn't alone in that situation. He also made it clear to her that he too was suffering also, and there are different types of suffering. His own was loneliness and her own was poverty. At least they have something in common. They talked regular. He told her he will come back to Jamaica soon. This time he would be spending time with her and her children. He came back, they stayed at a hotel, and he gave her more money this time. Then he asked her to marry him. She agreed. They got married. He filed for her and the children. She and her children went to Canada. She went back to school and got a degree. She graduated as a medical doctor. She manages her husband. Business. She bought lands in Jamaica and a 21-room hotel in the community where she came from. Most of the people who used to curse her and say bad things against her have to run to her, searching jobs and friendship. Her children's fathers, especially the first one who forsake her, he called her night and day asking her to forgive him. He wanted to reconcile with her, and when she refused to talk to him, he made it out that he was a good father and she doesn't want him to see his child. She was strong and full of focus. I wish if more of those kinds of women are around to put some useless men in their places who took women for granted and don't know the importance of companionship and love. It is about time men learn to love and respect women and stop treat them like they are nobody. And on the other hand, women should not accept anything under the best from men.